Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a Zunker React. It's been a couple weeks. I do apologize for that. I know it coincides with the losing streak. I didn't do it because we were losing. I just been really busy. It's Christmas time. It's holiday time. Last week I went to the Browns Jags game. I just had a busy weekend, and just honestly, on top of making, uploading 6 videos as well to my other 2 gaming channels, I just haven't really had the time or the energy or the motivation to do these reacts, especially after some disheartening losses. But I'm back, and so I'm gonna make this react less about the Ravens game and more about what's going on right now with the Jags. But first, before I do that, I will talk a little bit about the Jags game. I think this final score does not really encompass what this game was. I think the Jags actually played really well, especially defensively. For the first time in seemingly weeks outside of turnovers, I thought the Jags played really well. I thought they locked up Lamar pretty good. They had, unfortunately, Lamar got 97 yards rushing on the day, and Keaton Mitchell has up to 73 only on 9 carries. So the rush defense was a little weak, 251 total yards. That was bad. But I didn't think they played all that bad. That's kind of what the Ravens do. But the Jags played well enough to win defensively, in my opinion. And, it was only 10-0 at the half. I'll talk about the first half in a minute. We got 3 sacks in the game. Trayvon Walker got sacked. Rashawn Jenkins on blitz got sacked. Amgostis got sacked. Rashawn Jenkins had a really good game, and one of his first good games in a while, too. Had a nice interception, baiting Lamar into a bad throw. Nice pick. We didn't do anything with it, but it was a nice pick nonetheless. So what happened in this game is a problem with this team all year long. If you've watched them, it's turnovers. It's getting in their own way. Stupid mistakes, stupid penalties, self-inflicted wounds. It's happened again and again and again. It's happened all season long. This team is, in a way, lucky to be 8-6 and tied for the division lead, because this team has not played well outside of a couple games all year long. I think they've played pretty bad all year long. And honestly, at this point, it's if Trevor doesn't have a great game, this team's going to lose. That's where we're at right now with this team. And even when he does have a great game, like against the Bengals, they still lose. I mean, he did leave that game very late with the ankle injury. But credit to Baltimore, they won a game that maybe they weren't their best at, but that shows why they're such a great team. Where the Jags right now, for the third time this season at least. Yeah, for the third time this season, they were held to sub 10 points at home. And for the fourth time this season, they were held to sub 20 at home. They are 2-4 at home this season. In Jacksonville, for the record. I don't count the Bills game because that was technically in London. This team doesn't play well at home. We lost our first road game a couple weeks ago to the Browns. Browns just win games. I don't know how they win games. But for a Doug Peterson coach team, because I think Doug Peterson is a good coach, his coordinators suck. Press Taylor's not a good offensive coordinator. His play design is weak. Travis, they're misusing Travis Etienne in such an unbelievable way, and it's so frustrating. It's like they don't know what they have in him, and they just think he's an average running back that can just go up the middle. It's like that's not his game. Travis Etienne this year is having a great season touchdown wise, but he hasn't had a touchdown in a while since the Pittsburgh game. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. He had one against Cincinnati and Cleveland, but he's had touchdowns, but he's not doing much yardage wise. He's getting a lot of yards because he's getting a bunch of carries. He has It's like, oh, he has 1,200 scrimmage yards. He has 10 TDs on the season. How can you sit here and say he's having a bad season? 3.7 yards per carry. And outside the game Cincinnati, where he only had 11 carries for 45 yards, he's been under 3 twice in the past 5 games. Been under 3 yards per carry. Is it his fault? Probably a little bit, but it's our offensive line. It's the play calling is absolutely terrible in terms of run design. We aren't putting him into position to succeed. You take out Trevor Lawrence's scramble where he had 4 for 41. This team rushed for 13 carries for 34 yards. They can't run the ball. It's not even effectively. They can't run it. They want to run it. They can't run it. So now they're starting to get behind in games, and they just abandon the run because there's nothing there, and Lawrence has to throw 43 fucking times again and get hurt again. Where in the week prior against the Cleveland, he had to throw 50 times. A guy that has an ankle injury, has had knee injuries here, now is in concussion protocol. Something has got to give. And right now, I think Thanksgiving is winning. And we're on a 3-game losing streak. And the mistakes are starting to come back and bite the Jags. The self-inflicted wounds are coming back to bite the Jags consistently. It's happening it's starting to happen every week. They can't keep turning the ball over. They just continue to turn the ball over all season long. It's amazing how much they're turning the ball over right now. And it's now a genuine problem. And now Christian Kirk's injury is a genuine issue. Losing him sucks a lot. But the last prior to 2 weeks, we've allowed Flacco and Browning to just tear up our defense, because of course we did. But the Jags defense honestly isn't good if we ain't turning the ball over. We're the 6th worst defense in yards per game allowed, in pass yards per game. We are 5th worst in run yards per game. We're solid. We're middle of the pack-ish, maybe close to top 10. In points allowed, we're middle of the pack, thankfully. In terms of points per game, we're in the bottom half. The one thing the Jags do well is get turnovers. They're first in the league in turnovers, or close to top. It's the one thing that they do exceedingly well, thankfully. Thankfully, that's the one aspect of their game that's well. They're 6th in the league in interceptions, and they're up there for turnovers in general. This team is not good, folks. They're 5th. They have the 5th least sacks in the league right now, and that's with a guy with 13.5 sacks. Trayvon Walker has 6, so 19.5 sacks are coming from those two guys. And Trayvon Walker, I don't think has played well this season, to be fair. Jags have been good about recovering fumbles and forcing fumbles this year, as they have recovered 11 fumbles this year. I think that includes offense too, but still, this team has. Actually, I think that's the all defense. Yeah. So they're good at turning the ball. They're good at getting turnovers. That's the one thing they're good at. And if they're not, it's a problem. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if there's a solution this year. They're now tied for the division with Houston and Indianapolis, and I would say both of those teams are playing better overall. Houston does not have C.J. Stroud right now. Hopefully he's okay with the concussion that he missed this week. They still beat Tennessee. Indianapolis is looking like they're going to be a tough out. The good news for the Jags is the schedule lightens up. They got Tampa Bay, Carolina, Tennessee, all winnable games, but Tampa Bay looked really good this week. So, obviously there's some issues here, and maybe only having one more home game is a good thing at this point, because we're 2-5 at home in Jacksonville. Yeah, that's not good. So even if we make the playoffs, obviously I don't expect much. to be honest with you, but it is what it is, and it's just the same shit. And now it's starting to really, really come to roost, and they need to fix this in a hurry. And this is a poorly coached team right now. They make the self-inflicted wounds, the penalties, the turnovers, like the sequence in the first half, the 4 consecutive drives after the punt, missed field goal. All right, I'd like to see him make a 50-yarder, but 50 yards or 50 yards. Then miss 55-yarder. Okay, well, 55, but goddamn. A dumb fumble, which is a Trevor Lawrence special, and then the worst time management. Terrible time management. Like I don't even know what that was. So you cost yourself, if you just say you get field goals, that's 12 points right there. You have another 7, that's 19, that's 23-19. Maybe the game changes because you're in the lead. Because again, the Jags gave up 13 in the fourth quarter. What if they had 19, it was 19-10 going into the fourth quarter? It's a completely different ball game. Look, the Jags are in good position to win the division still. They have to win out. I genuinely think they have to win out. They can't lose more than one, but they really need to win it out to make sure, because I just, Indy and Houston. Houston does have a bit of a tough stretch. At least one hard game. They got Cleveland, and obviously Cleveland is a weird team, but you don't underestimate them. But then they got the Titans, and then the Colts. Then you got Colts and Houston in week 18. That could be a battle for the division if Jags falter here. If they lose one more game, that it could cost Jags a playoff spot, because the AFC is just a jumbled mess. And these 3 straight losses were all AFC games. That's brutal. It's going to be bad. The good news for the Jags is they have tiebreakers on some of the teams that are behind them. Obviously they beat the Colts twice. That's big. They won against Houston. Buffalo, they beat Buffalo. They beat Pittsburgh. They did not, and Denver. So there is still a solid chance they make the playoffs, but you just don't know, and that's the problem. It's tough, folks. It's right now. It's tough to be positive about the Jags because of what's happening. It's tough to stay positive about the season because it's been a weird season. Yes, they're 8-6, and if they win one more game, they have their first back-to-back winning seasons in seemingly forever. I think in 20 years is what you're talking in terms of back-to-back winning seasons. I don't count 8-8 as a winning season, obviously. The last time they had back-to-back winning seasons was in 2004 and 2005. And that's it. And obviously when they have 4 straight in the 90s, this team has not had a good stretch run, to say the least, especially under Shaq Khan, where it's been absolutely abysmal up until recently, until last year, basically, where we went 9-8. We weren't supposed to, and then we had an epic comeback in the playoffs. But so we will see. Obviously, we're trying to win a division title, and that's still the goal, and that's still our easiest way to give up or to get in the playoffs. But we have to win out. We still control our own destiny. That's a positive, and But right now, if you're a Jags fan like me, you can't be feeling too good right now because, if you've been watching this team, it's been a bit of a nightmare the last 3 weeks. And yes, that's a tough 3-game stretch. I admit that, but you got to win. The Colts had the Falcons and Raiders next. It's not hard. That should be 2 winnable games for them. But we'll see. We'll see, and maybe the Jags can change my mind, and maybe it's Houston and Indy will lose a couple of games between now and then, and make it a little bit easier for us. But right now the Jags are in some trouble, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this goes, and I'm hoping that in 3 weeks I'm talking about them getting ready for a playoff game and not how they collapsed. But this feels like they're collapsing. This feels like the Jags are falling apart at the seams. And if they do fall apart, if they lose out, what happens? I mean, don't fire Doug, I don't think, but does that cost Press Taylor a job? Does it cost Mike Caldwell their defensive coordinator job? I do think neither one of them are good. I think there needs to be a change in both, badly. I actually think this coaching staff is pretty weak, and you've seen it. The undisciplinary play you've seen all season would suggest that this coaching staff isn't doing their job. And, that does start at the top with Doug Peterson. Obviously, I don't think he should be fired under any circumstance, but if they collapse going into next year, that seat's a bit warm. There's expectations this year, and now they're faltering, and that's a problem. But next week, the Jags got Tampa Bay in Tampa. Jags have played well on the road this year, but hopefully they can stop turning the ball over. I mean, they've had so many turnovers this year, and only just a couple of games where they haven't turned the ball over. It's been a problem. It's been a genuine problem. But that will do it for me with this react. Let's go, Jags. Don't blow this. Please don't blow this. Until next week, guys. Deuces.